Real quick before the video starts, I have a new channel based around green text stories on 4chan, and I'll be uploading videos daily over there. If you're interested, I'll leave a link to the channel in the description. Hey everyone, welcome back. I'm Michael, and we're going to be getting right back into some more Reddit stories. If you enjoy the video, make sure to leave a like and subscribe. Now, without further ado, let's begin. This story was posted by a throwaway account in the relationship advice subreddit. The post is titled, "I called my wife ungrateful, canceled our date, and left her in the car to cry. How do I make her feel what I feel? My wife and I have been together for 2 years now and recently got married. We are compatible in every way except when it comes to her idea of gestures and how she feels love. She really likes traditionally romantic things. It does not come naturally to me, but I oblige because it makes her happy. One of the things she wanted me to do on one of our dinners together was to pick her up in my car, get her flowers, open the door for her, and do other things she wanted. We live in a very convenient spot from which we can get things delivered in just under 5 to 7 minutes through an online app. I had forgotten to get flowers for her, so at the last minute I just ordered them off the app. They were beautiful and she said she was really happy about the gesture. I said, no worries, I can get you flowers every day. Somehow I ended up blurting out that I ordered them off the app. Her expression immediately changed and she said she did not feel special anymore. It was as good as gifting her a bag of Doritos because no real effort was made on my part. She angrily said she would have felt at least a little special if I had placed the order directly with a florist I had researched first. The app I ordered flowers from is the same app she uses to order things on a whim when we run out, such as bread and milk. I was feeling frustrated at this point and admittedly got mad at her because it felt so silly, and I felt unappreciated due to the lack of gratitude when she said my gesture did not feel thoughtful anymore. I said, was the gift thoughtless or are you thankless? She started crying. I ended up leaving her in the car downstairs in the complex and headed upstairs, as I no longer felt like having dinner with her. Update. Thanks to everyone who responded to my original post, most of you did not hold back. It gave me a lot to think about. I am at work right now and we have finally had a real conversation. We both could not stay silent or wait until I got home. My wife reached out via text and expressed a few things. She sent a photo of the flowers, the exact ones from that night, placed in a vase sitting on our dining table. She had kept them with her all along, but just not in my sight. She said she had some time to reflect and realized that in the moment she was being overly critical and controlling. She admitted that her reaction was less about the flowers and more about her own expectations, and that maybe it was unfair to get upset over the how instead of appreciating the what. She said it hit her later how quickly she dismissed the fact that I had to go outside of my comfort zone to do something for her, even if it was not in the exact way she imagined. That her idea of romance was starting to become more like a checklist. She said she realized she was romanticizing the performance of love rather than the presence of it, and she still loved me through all of this and hopes we can both communicate better. That meant a lot. That said, I also took accountability. I told her I should not have escalated things the way I did. I could have expressed how I felt without using harsh words or walking away. I let my frustration speak louder than my actual message. But to be completely honest, hearing her own admission about how she reacted made it easier for me to do the same. We have some plans to redo our date. This time, I will get her flowers from the florist like she wants me to, also because I want to. We are not perfect, but we are growing together. And the flowers from the app, still on the table, still beautiful, still enough. Zubak said, sometimes people say stupid things, and sometimes it elicits a stupid response. My wife lost her engagement ring some years after we were married. I was thinking about replacing it for her birthday or something until she specifically told me not to. We went out to dinner and I gave her a gift that she liked. It has been years, so I cannot remember what it was. Anyway, I was driving home and she said, I know I said not to replace my ring, but I was kind of secretly hoping you would. And I blew up at her because she specifically told me not to. Anyway, we both apologized later. It has been at least 10 years and we are about to sit down and play Wingspan. FML said his wife's response sounds like someone who has rationalized away her desires as unimportant in order to understand OP and avoid future disappointment by managing her expectations. Meanwhile, OP has not learned from this and seems to think he has won because his wife apologized first. But if he thinks his wife is just going to get over it and hold him in the same regard as before, he has got another thing coming. What his wife clearly wanted was initiative and unprompted thought and effort, so I am sure she is going to be looking at his pattern of behavior more closely from now on. OP is going to be clueless when the divorce hits him, not now or soon, but eventually. This second and final story was made by a user named No Pants Are Safe in the Neighbors from Hell subreddit. The post is titled, "Neighbor drives through my yard and dumps their garbage on my property. I have been dealing with some bad neighbors for 3 years now. I thought I would share my story both for entertainment value and also to ask, what would you do differently in my situation?" The context behind the neighbors. An old man lives there who had a wife that passed away before I moved in. Now some younger people from the projects who are not related to him take advantage of him and live with him rent-free. How they met I do not know. Despite the less than reputable characters that live with him, the old man is the biggest thorn in my side. I wish I could post pictures in this subreddit, but I will just have to describe it. My house is situated further back from the road than theirs. I can see into their backyard from my front door. The old man likes to drive into his yard and pull up to his front door to unload groceries so he does not have to walk as far to take them into the house. I understand that part. The problem is he pulls down my driveway, then across my yard to get to his front door. It kills my grass and leaves ruts in the yard. The next time I saw him outside, I asked him to stop driving in my yard and he said he would, but he kept doing it. A second time, I asked him to stop, and again it did not stop. After the third time, I was angry, so I went to his house and pounded on the door, but nobody answered. I went home, wrote an angry note, and taped it to his door, threatening to call the police if it happened again. Surprise, it happened again. So after the fourth time, I went to the police. The police told him to stop, and he did. To this day, he hasn't driven in my yard, thank goodness. But the story does not end here. After my trouble with them, I put Ring cameras up on my property, and last month my cameras caught something baffling. He dumped a big box TV on my property. I have a huge yard and a lot of land. I even own some woods. He has a fenced-in yard and also owns some woods. He rode his lawnmower into my front yard, down my side yard, and into my backyard all the way to my woods and dumped a box TV back there. It was not even 3 feet into the woods. Instead of leaving it by the curb for the garbage company to recycle for free, he had to get rid of it on my property. The audacity. So naturally, I took a picture of the TV, pulled the recordings from my cameras, and took them to the police. The police are charging him with littering and forcing him to remove the TV and dispose of it properly, as well as trespassing him from my property. He will be hit with criminal mischief if he sets even a foot on my property again. There was one morning last year when I woke up to go to work and there were like 10 local police cars and state cops all outside his house. The people from the projects living with him were dealing drugs out of his house and the police were doing a bust on them. Everyone but the old man was arrested. They just got let out of jail this month and are back in the house. I really just need to move. It is a shame because I live in such a nice neighborhood. It is the reason I even picked the house, the location. I have talked to my other neighbors about the bad neighbors and they said everything was fine before the old man's wife died. But now he almost seems like he has dementia and is being taken advantage of by some bad people. Now I have drug dealers and trespassers right next door. Fuck my life. Update. About a week ago, I posted about my issues with my neighbor driving through my yard in the past and how I had the police tell them to stop, as well as how more recently my neighbor dumped a large box TV on my property, which was caught on my cameras and reported to the police. Yesterday, my camera caught my neighbor leaving a handwritten note on my door that I read when I got home from work, and I also heard from the police regarding the TV. I will start with the conversation I had with the police and then transition into the note he left on my door. The police had been trying to reach my neighbor by phone for the last week and had made multiple visits to their house to tell him to remove the TV, but he was not answering his phone or the door. So the officers on duty have been making routine visits on our street to see if they could catch him outside, and they finally did. They told him he had to remove the TV, and he was livid naturally. He tried to claim that the property was not mine, but his. It is mine. I am not sure why he thinks otherwise, considering a fence separates our properties, and that he could do what he wanted. The officer said whether it was mine or his was irrelevant, as littering is littering, and you cannot dispose of electronic waste by dropping it in the woods and pretending it is not there. So they told him he had to dispose of it properly, and they told me that if the TV is not gone in 3 to 4 days, I should call them again, and they will give him a citation for it. That was yesterday when this conversation happened. Around lunchtime, my Ring camera caught him leaving the note. The note said along the lines of, "I am giving you until June 1st to trim branches of a tree on your property that are dropping leaves and twigs into my property, or I am filing a civil suit against you. I am tired of picking up the sticks and leaves dropped on my yard by your tree." Naturally, the first thing I did was look up my state and local laws, and also went to the police station to notify the officers that this happened so they were aware of it and could make a report. The officers at the station told me not to worry about it. They know what he is like, and he would not actually go through with it. He is just mad that I got him in trouble and is taking it out on me with any excuse he can come up with. And the officers told me it is not my responsibility to take care of it. Our state and local laws state that it is not the responsibility of the owner to trim branches that protrude over the property line, but the property owner onto whom it is protruding is allowed to cut the branches back off the property line. Whether you agree with that or not is up to you, but that is the law that I both read and that the police department informed me of. But here's the thing, the tree is healthy and it is not dropping large branches or anything of that sort, nor does it go over anything that would cause damage to his property. Even if it did, insurance would take care of that. It is not my responsibility. He is obviously upset about me getting him in trouble these last few months and is reaching for anything he possibly can to cause trouble for me, like I have for him. Unfortunately, I am an upstanding citizen and he has no grounds to get me in trouble with anything. Also, our police department and local government despise him and his residents so much that even if this somehow does go to court, his word is nothing compared to mine. So I am calling his bluff and ignoring him. I know him well enough at this point. I am not giving him the attention he wants. If he had been kind about the situation and had a respectful conversation with me about the tree, I would have been a lot more considerate. But he did not even talk to me about it. Now that he thinks he can threaten me, he can forget it. The amount he has inconvenienced me severely outweighs leaves falling from my tree into his yard. Maybe when he stops driving across my yard, dumping garbage on my property, and trespassing, I will think about whether or not to help him. I cannot believe there are people on this planet so selfish. See my last post for the details on how these people are the scum of our community, crack-dealing sociopaths in the one garbage house of our nice neighborhood. I am really disappointed things have ended up this way because the whole reason I even got the house was because of the neighborhood, but I had to pick the one place next door to the crack dealers and trespassers. Again, fuck my life. I am going to start looking for a new place to live. I am so thankful the police have been so helpful and understanding of the situation, but it seems no matter how many times I send them and no matter how willing they are to cause trouble for me, this needless drama will not end until they are out of that house or I just leave. I keep to myself. I am a single, quiet man who minds his own business in his own house. I just want to be left alone. It is time to start looking elsewhere, I think. Anyway, I hope my strife has been entertaining. I will probably have another update after the first week of June regarding all of this. Would you have done anything differently? Let me know if you have any advice. Thanks. Update 2. This will be my final update regarding what has been going on unless anything substantial happens in the future. I do not think anything else is going to come of this particular situation, but some things have happened between now and my last post. Here is what has happened. In my last post, I told the story of my recent strife with my neighbor, an old man who keeps trespassing on my property and drove through my yard on multiple occasions, only stopping after the police made him do so. He then trespassed again by dumping a large box TV in the woods in my backyard. After telling the police about the TV and after they confronted him and told him to remove it, he left a note on my door threatening legal action for a tree that is dropping leaves and twigs in his yard, and if I did not take care of it by June 1st, he would be suing me. For the finer details where I went more in depth about it, see my last post from about a week and a half ago from the link above. As for the update, it is now June 3rd, and naturally I have done nothing about the tree. Countless conversations with other people, including the police, as well as my own research, tell me I am not responsible. I have not heard from the neighbor, not heard from anybody on his behalf, nor gotten any more notes on my door or in my mailbox or anything of the sort. It was just as we suspected. All bark, no bite. He was mad about me getting him in trouble and tried to intimidate me, and it did not work. He has since removed the TV. Where he put it, I am not sure. I never saw it on the curb for the garbage or anything. For all I know, he could have just thrown it in his own woods, but I do not care enough to attempt to find out. It is off my property and none of my business anymore as a result. I also double-checked with the police to be sure that he was trespassed for good, and they assured me he was, and that removing the TV from my property was the last time he or anybody in that house was permitted to set foot on it, and he understood this. As many commenters suggested, I went down to our local human services building in our township and spoke to somebody in the Office of Aging. It is our version of Adult Protective Services. I spent an hour at their office and made a full report on the whole situation to them. The old man and his seemingly declined mental and physical state, the types of people living with him. I gave them all the juicy details, from the footage of him struggling to climb 2 stairs onto my porch to leave the note showcasing his physical state, to another time where he chased a squirrel on his lawnmower into my yard showcasing his mental state. I even showed them the footage I had from the raid on his house where the people who were living with him were temporarily arrested for dealing crack out of his house. I gave them the names of the people living with him provided by my buddy in the police department who has been dealing with them for me. I left no detail out, no stone unturned. The woman I spoke with submitted the report to their investigation unit, but she said I would not get an update regarding the situation. I am only going to hear from anyone if they ask for more information from me. Only time will tell if this will do any good, not only for myself, but for the old man too. To summarize, the TV is off my property. They are officially trespassed, their legal action threats were bluffs, and they have not driven on my yard since. I feel better about everything, and I am hoping that this is the last I have to deal with for the foreseeable future, but only time will tell. Of course, should anything else happen, I will be quick to tell it here, but for now, this will be the last time I post regarding this situation. I also wanted to thank everybody for the suggestions made on my previous posts. I would not have thought to make a report with the Office of Aging if it were not for commenters. Here is hoping he gets the help he needs and I get the peace and quiet I have been longing for. Update 3. My neighbor previously left a note on my door telling me I needed to either cut down a tree on my property or trim the branches back so it stops dropping leaves on his yard. He left the note in the middle of May and said he was giving me until June 1st to do something about it or he would be filing a civil suit. Naturally, I did not do anything about it. On June 3rd, I made a post giving an update on the situation and how he did not do anything and calling his bluff was the right thing to do. Here is the link to the post, which also links to all the previous posts about all the issues I've had with him, such as him driving on my lawn and dumping garbage on my property. Well, last night at about 5 p.m., he paid me a visit. I did not answer the door, but I have a Ring camera and he knows it records, so he left me a message. He said along the lines of, well, since you do not want to come to the door, you need to take care of the tree. I am tired of the stuff landing in my yard. I know you can see me, I know you can hear me. I am giving you 2 weeks, then I am going to the magistrate. Then he left. He has been trespassed from my property, so he violated the trespass. I sent the footage from my Ring camera to the officer who has been dealing with him on my behalf. The one who trespassed him. I am awaiting a response for now. I am not doing anything about the tree. I stated in my previous post that our state and local laws refer to what he is complaining about as shedding, and the landowner where the tree resides cannot be held responsible for leaves or twigs that fall from it onto another person's property. It is standard tree law, even if it were larger branches that were damaging his house or land, which it is not. Insurance handles that, and it is still not my responsibility. This conclusion comes not only from my own research, but also from what our police department and a lawyer I spoke to told me, so he has no grounds. If he tries to take it to court, they would laugh at him. That is the thing though, he will not take it to court. He has already proven to me he will not do anything. He gave me a week and a half before to take care of it, and I did not. It has been almost 2 weeks since the deadline he gave me, and all he did was extend his deadline after 2 weeks of me not complying. I am really not worried at all, but I thought I would share the experience for entertainment and as an update for those interested in the situation from my past dealings with him. I really do not want there to be a reason to post any more updates, but I will continue to post if the opportunity arises. Update 4. Just 1 day after my last post, I had a confrontation with my neighbor outside. Before anybody gets too excited, nothing physical happened, just a short exchange of words. I had to wait so long to make an update because I had been waiting to hear back from the police. And after 8 days of waiting and emails, I finally got a response from the police and enough information to warrant an update. If you have seen my last post, you can skip the next paragraph. To summarize what was mentioned in my last post, I previously got my neighbor in trouble for 2 things he had been doing to my inconvenience. First, he was driving on my lawn, killing my grass and leaving ruts in the ground. After asking him 3 times to stop, I sent the police over to tell him to stop, and thankfully, since then, he has not done it again. Second, he dumped a big box TV in my backyard. After a month and a half of deliberation with the police, they finally made him remove the TV, and I asked them to formally trespass him while they were at it too, so that he could not come onto my property anymore. The very same day he was trespassed, he came to my house and left a note at my door. The note said that he was giving me a deadline to cut down or cut back a tree on my property that was dropping leaves on his yard, or he would file a civil suit against me. After his deadline came and went, and I naturally did not do anything about the tree, 10 days later he came to my door and left a message on my Ring camera stating he was giving me another 2 weeks to deal with the tree, or he was going to the magistrate. He is grasping at whatever excuse he can muster to get me in trouble because I've gotten him in trouble, but he holds no grounds, and I am an upstanding citizen with nothing for him to get me in trouble with. That is everything up to now. Here is what has happened since my last post. I was out cutting my grass last Thursday, and after I was nearly finished and started weed whacking my backyard, he rode his lawnmower onto my property once again. Keep in mind, he has a fence, so it is not like he stayed in his yard and yelled to me. He deliberately went out of his fenced yard into my front yard and down my side yard into my backyard. My plan, if he ever confronted me, was to simply ignore him because of the type of person he is. I knew he just wants the drama and attention. It did not entirely go that way. He rode over to me and said, "Hey OP," and I ignored him at first. Then he gave me the "come here" finger gesture, and that kind of pissed me off. So here's what I said. "No, I am not talking to you. You have been trespassed and you need to go home." That is all I said. Keep in mind, his lawnmower was running the whole time and I had noise-canceling headphones in, but I know I said it loud enough for him to hear me. I did not hear what he said back. I am sure he just repeated what he has been saying to me about the tree because he pointed at it. I did not want to hear what he had to say anyway. He quickly retreated back off my property, saying he was going to the magistrate. So after I finished my weed whacking, I pulled the video from my backyard camera and went right down to the police station to report the confrontation, but nobody was available to talk to me due to an incident that was going on the same day. So I emailed the officer I have been dealing with and CC'd every other officer I had the email of and sent the video to him, stating this is the 3rd time he has trespassed since being formally trespassed, and I need something to be done about it because it feels like harassment at this point. I immediately got an email back saying they would address it and that they would contact me the next day, Friday. Friday came and went and I never heard from anybody. Then the whole weekend passed. Then Monday, nothing. So on Tuesday, I emailed the officer again saying that I was just checking in as they said they would talk to me by last Friday and it was now Tuesday with no update. I still had not heard anything until right now, today. I got a call from the officer, which I could not answer at the time, and he left me a voicemail. I am going to copy and paste the voicemail transcription so you can read it for yourself. Here it is. Hi OP, this is Officer X. I just wanted to get back in touch with you and provide you an update regarding your complaint about your neighbor. Myself and another officer went up there this past weekend. It would have been on Saturday. We talked to Mr. Neighbor regarding the consistent trespass. We also informed him that we will be filing a criminal charge, for defiant trespass against him. I do not think I will need you to testify in court because I do have the videos that you sent me. However, if that changes, I can give you a call and let you know. If he is on your property any further going forward, please do let us know, and let us know if he persists with this silly tree business. He was kind of receptive to the information and maybe seemed to get a reality check. If you have any problems at all though, just give us a call. Thank you. Bye. I have not spoken to the officer, but if I do have to testify in court, I will be more than happy to. He said my neighbors seem to have had a reality check, so I am really hoping this is the last I have to deal with him, though I am not expecting that to be the case. Either way, I am feeling really good about this. I will keep my doors locked and my eyes on the back of my head though. The police assured me when they raided his house last year there were no weapons and that nobody in the house has a violent history, but you can never be too safe. I have not heard from him, anybody on his behalf, or anybody else since the confrontation. Again, thanks to everybody for the suggestions on what to do and how to deal with the situation. I am still a first-time homeowner, so this is all new to me. I have become intimately familiar with tree law and trespass law now because of this, for better or for worse. Of course, should anything else happen, I will be quick to make an update post here. Thanks for your time. Edit, it is a misdemeanor in our state, not a felony. My mistake. Regardless, the maximum penalty is 1 year in prison and a $2,500 fine. Dogtastic Life said, it is called cuckooing here when criminals move in with a vulnerable person and use the property for dealing drugs, stolen property, and so on. OP does not say if they are still there, but if they are, the neighbor, nuts or not, is in a difficult situation and might just be trying to get some help, albeit in a weird way. Brielle Russell said, some people really go out of their way to make others miserable because what did the neighbor even get by doing all this? Edit, I missed the part where it said he is very frail and could be suffering from dementia. I feel bad for my comment. I hope the Adult Protective Services were able to help him and the criminals were removed from his home. Thank you so much for making it to the end of the video, and thank you also to partner of the channel, GamerSupps. Use code DLAM to support the channel and get 10% off of your purchase, link in the description. I'm sure many of you like me have a hankering for daily caffeine, so go check them out. Lately, I've been a big fan of Titty Milk and Acid Rain, but they've got dozens of other flavors for y'all to try out. Anyway, thanks again for reaching the end, and I hope you all have an amazing passage of the next 24 hours.